Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Kings of the North here in Toronto, Ontario. This is brought to you by Champ TV as well as CG Magazine. If you haven't heard of Comics and Gaming Magazine, they do bi-monthly releases for not only comics and gaming, but on digital and print. We're the young and old of esports. I'm the Forgo Jester. With me here, Master Dowk. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing decent, tired. Patience wearing a little thin.
Had to come straight from school. Yeah.
Yep. War Champ 7 picked me up straight from school, and then we had a 4-hour drive all the way over here.
Well, you're certainly making strides here for esports, but we got a lot of Canadian matches here for you tonight in StarCraft 2 because Kings of the North has some of the best playing talent here, not only Toronto, but Canada. So, with that being said, we almost have our first game ready to go here in Group A. You want to talk us a little bit about what's going to happen? All
right, so we're going to have two best of threes, and that will be the first two players for the group, and that is going to be MaSa, Jig, Desro, and Saravati. And then what will happen is that the winners of those two best of threes will go into a best of one for seeding points to figure out who will be going on into the final bracket stage, as we see over here. Yeah, we're going to start with MaSa versus Jig.
Indeed. So Root up against Team Kill, and it is, as you said, best of three. Later on, it's going to be Desro versus Saruvati. I like that name, Saruvati. So two best of threes, and then, of course, our seeding is going to be our content for tonight. We do apologize for the delay, but we are raring to go. The players are ready. And again, if you guys are here, Champ TV, that we do a lot of Toronto and Canadian-based StarCraft content. You should hit those follow buttons. We also have some subscribe perks now as well. You can get the JID or get direct emoticons. Definitely some fun things to play around with there in chat. And we do thank you for your patience in getting this going. The game countdown has begun, and we're going to be getting into this Terran versus Zerg.
Yeah, it's going to be starting off on Merry-Go-Round LE. It's a new map for the map pool. It's a 3-player map.
Yeah, I've not heard of a 3-player map in a ladder rotation before.
Well, the last 3-player map I've heard of in a ladder rotation was all the way back in Brood War on Icy Cup, where they had Neo Medusa. It was actually my best map because there was these stack of temples you could glitch up, and then you would get behind their main base, and I just put down cannons and won every single time.
Dirty cannon rusher.
Yeah.
Well, no cannons here, as it is going to be the Terran versus Zerg, and I can kind of see why it's called the merry-go-round. It's definitely very triangular, and you can just keep going through each of those starting positions. But speaking of those, here in our top right from Team Kill, our green Zerg, he is Jig.
And over on the top left, we have our pink Terran player representing Root Gaming. It is MaSa.
I love that Root symbol. Been seeing it a lot because we have done a lot of tour crafts here. Just a separate circuit that we do run here on Champ TV. Do it once a month. That's actually going to be coming up to its finale soon enough. So we've seen a lot of MaSa before. We kind of know basically what MaSa likes to do this time. And in a word, it's Reapers.
Yeah. Merry-Go-Round. It's not the greatest map for Reapers, however. As you can see around the main base, the only really ledge entry point would be through the natural, so it's kind of a straightforward entry, though. We have seen on maps that have this similar kind of setup. MaSa will still go for it anyways because it's what he does. Yeah.
Could be proxy, could be base, could be just pure. I mean, we've seen him do it all, but almost invariably, it always is that starting position. You know, even if you get a few just for the harassing purposes, that's kind of his thing. He goes in early. He forces you to split your attention not only between the macro and the building and the economy, but you also now have to deal with these hidden run tactics from the Reapers. They do heal over time as well. So with proper control, and trust me, MaSa, he has that proper control for sure. It's just going to be really a thorn in his side. And then he uses those small advantages you get by the opponent being a little distracted to get up his own economy and then just try to outmass his opponent. We see a lot of biotech from him, but we've also seen some strange mech comps from him as well.
Yeah. And, you know, right now, Jig, he's not going to be too prepared for this, as he did go hatch first before pool. There does throw down the pool now. It looks like the barracks is actually going to be rallied the wrong way.
Yeah, we did not have any kind of early scouts come out from MaSa. And as you said, 3-player map. The Overlord will notice MaSa before MaSa notices it. And yeah, that extra timing could be a little detrimental in terms of the earlier harass. But again, MaSa, he's a player that knows pretty much Terran front and back. It's not going to impede him too much, but it will give a little bit of a timing advantage here to Jig.
Oh, finds Jig. So the Reaper not actually going to be rallied the wrong way. It's going to be heading the right way after all. And
it's As I said, he knows what to do. He goes one way and finds him the other. Either way, bunker is going to be prepared. Had the SCV gone the wrong way, again, like the bunker wouldn't have been nearly so ready. And you see drones now being pulled out, so unfortunately it will not complete, at least very likely not to.
Yeah, right now we do have a queen coming out from that natural. 6 Zerglings as well. The first Reaper is going to be coming in here. That drone should be dying. Jig will not be able to make it into anything to save it. And the Reaper is going to be heading up into the main base now. 4 Zerglings are going to be out. Though, you know, with the pool being a bit delayed, Metabolic Boost is going to be a ways out. And then also that Reaper, it's just going to be able to kite off those Zerglings so well.
That was a nice split. We had the 4 from the main, the 2 came out here from the expansion, and that was actually behind the Reaper, so they were able to snipe off that SCV. So again, no bunker going to be here, but again, MaSa with this control, this is what he does. He builds up 3, 4, 5 of these Reapers, uses them as a guerrilla force, and now up against these Zerglings without Metabolic Boost, with only that 1 Queen, no Creep Tumors down quite yet, not really that much to fear at this point. He can just keep wearing Jig down. That bunker, however, is just basically fodder at this point.
Yeah, it's just kind of distracting the queen. Nice target firing is coming out from Jig, trying to get down the Reaper that is already damaged a little. But, you know, behind this MaSa, he's not actually going to be going up to the high number of Reapers we've seen him do in the past. He's going to be instantly going out into the factory there. Going to be getting down a reactor, so probably going to be getting out some Hellions with that factory.
We've seen that before as well. So looks like he will stick to 3 this round. But as you said, you know, between 3 and 5, typically that's what you see for his hit and run tactics. He just uses the micro in the back, keep him alive, use the ledges to his advantage. He's just going to keep poking down Zerglings. Takes out the queen as well. That's going to be a little bit of a blow there to Jig, because now we are going to be down not only by defensive purposes, but the larvae had another queen ready to go anyways. Metabolic Boost on the way. But again, in the back, you know, we did have that expansion go down for MaSa. He has the second orbital coming. He does have the barracks now done. 3rd command center now going to be on the way as well. And 2 Hellions right on schedule.
Yep, and we do see the tech lab is going to be coming down on the barracks as well. So will we be seeing tanks? Will we be seeing Banshees? I feel like on this map, Banshees work very well, especially with the asymmetrical rotation on here. You can just very easily get the Banshee into the natural or the main, whereas most maps you can only really get it into one or the other. So, gonna have to see.
Jig's been dealing with this harass very coolly. Does have that metabolic boost, so the Reaper's time is basically 9. But we do got the 2 Hellions en route. Now, you mentioned Banshees, and again, that is something we have also seen in the past. A little bit of a dancing over the ledge right there to let the Hellions just enjoy themselves some Zerg barbecue. But we have seen Reapers into Hellions into Banshees before. Now, will we see it here? I'm a little undecided on that one because we don't see any starport quite yet, but we do got Marines coming, we do got that stim coming as well, and you might look at the supply, you might say, well, MaSa's, you know, he's falling a little bit behind in that army, but this is where he starts ramping up.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see how will Jig deal with it. So far, you know, he did deal with that early game harass pretty well. Only 1 worker killed, definitely a win for Jig there.
That 1 early drone.
Yeah.
But a lot of Zerglings did fall.
Yeah, but Zerglings in the early game, a little expendable, I'd say.
I think that the definition of expendable, 2 for 50.
Yeah,
they're literally just fodder. But again, like Jig, he didn't give up. He kept at it. He dealt with it very nicely. We do got the 3rd out here. Not exactly going to be the fastest hat-trick kill in existence, but you know, again, you know, MaSa, he's keeping this map control. First it was with the hit and run Reapers. Now it's the hit and run.
Yep, and we do see a Spire is going to be coming down here for Jig. The Lair did finish up. Oh, actually going to be canceling the Spire there. Going to be getting a Baneling Nest, it seems. So priorities is what is on Jig's mind right now. Going to be getting the Banelings out that way. He can go without the Mules for a little while, and he'll also have more time to just bank up a lot of gas, really.
I'm a little curious as to the tech switch, not going for the Spire. I'm curious if we actually had a scan go down, and then he saw the Spire, so now MaSa's going to be thinking, all right, I got to get a lot of anti-air defense, and then he switches into the Baneling.
Yeah, it might be like that, though I don't think MaSa was actually able to see that Spire. I think it's mainly just because like a lot of Zerg players versus Terran, they do go Mutiling Bane, so, you know, just forgot about the Baneling Nest. MaSa just keeping him so busy that, you know, it might have just slipped his mind, really.
Well, you see all the upgrades now coming down for the ground army. 20 more Lings there in production. We are going to see quite a few Banes pop out fairly soon here from Jig. But again, armor The metabolic boost has already been done. You also see the centrifugal hooks, I believe, is for the Banelings.
Yes, centrifugal hooks to make those Banelings stop from waddling, and then they're going to start rolling. These Zerglings are going to get roasted pretty quickly. We'll be able to get a couple Hellions and a few Marines as well, though. More Zergling reinforcements going to be able to come in and then just kind of deal with those pretty so easily.
Yeah. Cannot underestimate the power of numbers, especially as a Zerg opponent. He does have that creep highway ready to go, and again, the 3 bases, so a lot of larvae at his disposal. Jig, again, I mean, he's really turned this early game pressure. We've seen many players just fold under that kind of repeated harass out of MaSa in the beginning. But again, production tab, very, very stark of MaSa's style.
Yeah, but right now we do have a couple Zerglings going to be coming into the third. The Marines will be able to keep them away. The SCVs did get pulled to try and add some more fodder into there, just to distract them.
To the front.
Yeah. A lot of Zerglings are going to be coming out now. Centrifugal hooks and 1-1 for melee is going to be finishing up. So as we do see now, a lot of Banelings going to be entering that production tab. 1-1, though, is going to be finishing up for MaSa as well as Stimpack. So he's going to be able to deal a lot more damage than he already was. And with the Medivacs on the way as well. And it looks like he's also going to be adding in some Marauders. And I like this because Marauders deal with Banelings just so much more efficiently than just Marines will do.
Yeah, they can take the hits a bit more solidly, as well as just throw down those AoE slows when you do got the numbers advantage. So,
yeah.
No, we're not coming up, guys. We are staying here. Don't worry. MaSa and Jig. Game number 1 here on Merry-Go-Round. Hit and run tactics again coming out. MaSa just, again, going to be using those ledges to his advantage, going back and forth, just try to do all this poking. Now, again, we did have the 1-1s come down. 2s are now coming out on its way from both sides. And, again, it's just more Zerglings.
Yeah, and you know, that Spire should probably start getting thrown down soon. Right now we do see Widowmine's going to be entering the third base. This hatchery should go down. The Widowmines will clean up anything that comes to try and defend this anyways. Looks like Zergling's going to be heading over towards the third. A lot of supply depots just going down. MaSa going to get heavily supply blocked, but not that big of a deal for right now.
Reminded of Husky StarCraft in his famous video right now, because there are Banelings everywhere down, taking out all the supplies. The Banes are going to clean up quite a bit of this back-end army. We don't quite have a wall there, MaSa.
Oh, those Banelings, they're going to be coming right into this mineral line. The SCVs need to get pulled. Ooh. So many going to be going down. 28 workers killed and so far. Yeah, and now Zergling's going to be showing up to try and reinforce here. The third of Jig did go down, but still, MaSa took a lot of losses there.
Quite a bit.
But, you know, with 46 worker supply in favor of Jig right now, I feel like Jig came out on top there. He doesn't quite have the army supply, but seeing Zerg, that's going to change pretty quickly.
Well, the downside of this is that Jig did lose out that third base. He is down a hatch. He's down those minerals as well. We also saw Widow Mines there in the back of MaSa's army. So, you know, a few key placements of those are going to really just stop the development of that third again, which means that Jig either has to, you know, clean up this game quicker, like as soon as he can, or he has to start really worrying about that economy, because MaSa is just going to keep massing.
Yeah, and right now it looks like Jig's Banelings are slowly rolling in. There still is not a wall over at the natural. He's going to just roll right past it. A single Marine not going to get detonated on. Jig really keeping good control of his Banelings. A lot of those Marines going to be going down. The orbital command is going to get lifted. SCV is going down. And right now still so many Banelings are left over for Jig here.
Yeah, we might not have the army here from MaSa to actually deal with this. Banelings to the front. It is going to go right through that wall. You see the production lines just immediately ignored. That's going to be some death for SCVs, but good splits coming up from MaSa. Does just delay it, but then just kind of forgot about them there in the back. So that is a lot of worker deaths.
Yeah, Jig though.
52 and counting.
52 workers killed. So far, 14 worker supply here for MaSa. It looks like a drop going down in the main, though. We'll be able to take out the lair. Spire is going down, but, you know, it's just going back and forth here. MaSa still ahead in supply, and, you know, with the one hatchery, it's going to be very difficult to come back into supply, especially without a spawning pool.
Well, I mean, I got to give Jig credit. He went for the killing blow, but unfortunately there was that counter there from MaSa, losing out that main. Not only did he lose out, you know, the lair, but again, you know, like, we're down to the one hatch, and I don't think there's going to be enough Zerglings ready to kind of outmass. Look at that army moving across here from MaSa. Like, I don't think Jig can actually deal with that.
Yeah, right now, so many medevacs actually going a bit ahead into the fray. And a lot of Marines, Jig just doesn't have the supply. He has 9 army supply right now. That's 4 Banelings and a handful of Zerglings. Easily these Marines can deal with it. And he doesn't even need to split.
Yeah.
GG from Jig.
Not near enough there at the end.
Yeah, MaSa just going to take game number 1 there.
MaSa does as MaSa does. We saw, again, very typical gameplay from him. The Reaper harass, the Hellions, and then massing. You saw at one point the production screen was just massively in his favor. It went actually right under our UI elements. I mean, it just, he does so much in the mid game. Like, that's the stage of the game that the beginning harass, he sets himself up, he gets those incremental advantages because you have to deal with him dealing with you. And then just mid-game, he just explodes.
Yeah, and, you know, like Jig, he dealt so much damage. They're bringing him down to under 15 workers. But still, just the thing is that, yes, Zerglings are pretty expendable, but when all you have are Zerglings, it kind of changes how that works.
And I have to wonder, like, was that a scan that saw the Mutalisks and then he decided to switch? Or did he actually just say, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't need the Mutas now. I need Banes. I mean, the Banes were obviously a good choice. A lot of blow-ups, a lot of kills attributed to them. But we saw 0 air presence. We saw 0 roaches, hydras, anything. Not even any spellcasters into that.
Yeah. And, you know, Zergs, they can only stay on tier 1 units for so long, especially against a player like MaSa, who has such good macro play that he can come back and deal so much damage that it's really hard, especially once you lose all your supply. Like we saw there, MaSa was consistently double the supply of Jig for quite a while, and I feel that kind of put the nail in the coffin.
Sometimes I think that MaSa should have been a Zerg player because his massing is just amazing. Like, as a Terran, he's just always up there.